Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe's Classic Video Games back with another cool pinball repair video for you. We have been working on this sad, neglected pinball machine. This is a mighty Bally lost world that has been neglected for years. And we filmed a video of us cleaning it up a little bit, depopulating the playfield, and we worked on the rectifier board in it so that the light bulbs on the playfield will work whenever we get to the point of repopulating the playfield. But before we do that, we have to paint some of this missing artwork back in. Now, I'm going to say right at the beginning, I am not a painter. I'm not an artist, right? So if you're looking for one of these to look brand new, you're on the wrong damn video. Go find somebody else's video of fixing up a Bally lost world and making it look brand new. Not sure you will find one, but we will not be able to get this looking brand new again, but we can certainly get it looking a lot better than it is. The main thing is all of this wear right around the inserts on the bonus ladder. So our plan is we're going to repaint that in by hand, and then we're going to clear coat it so that it won't ever wear again. What do you think about that? So that's what we're going to attempt. And then we're going to come up here and we got to touch up a little bit of this up here. Just a little bit of stuff like around this chick's boob. We got to get that looking better so that the boob looks right. We got to get some of this back in. We got to get this looking a little better. There's bad kick out wear here and here. But the main problems are here, 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 and here. The stuff like this being all different colors, I don't think I'm going to be able to fix. Essentially, I was mentioning in another video, this thing was covered with dirt in the previous video. You can go watch that if you want. And so the reason this is dark is because that's the original color. It originally was dark like this and has faded because of exposure to light. And the reason that this is dark in the middle is because there was dirt there covering up the paint probably for 30 years, and it kept it from fading. So the parts that faded were the parts that didn't have dirt on it. And the reason they didn't have dirt on it is because they were too close to the rubber ring or the ball rail. So that, you know, the ball just touches that little spot there. So the ball had ground dirt all over the playfield, which kept that part from getting light from the exposure to light. Unbelievable, really. So this thing has been severely abused, but it's got good bones, right? So we think we'll be able to fix it. And you're going to see us do some of the painting here in this video. So the way we do it is, and you know, let me also say from the beginning, this is not necessarily an instructional video, so we're not trying to tell you how to do it. We're just saying this is how we do it, right? So the way we do it is we take acrylic paints, like hobby paints, and we mix up a color that's a pretty close match, and then we paint it in by hand. And then whenever we're done, we clear coat the parts that we had painted with just spray paint. Clear coat spray paint. This is not going to be high end, folks, but it is going to look pretty good whenever we're done, all things considered. And then whenever we do get done, we're going to buy a new back glass for it. We've already bought it, actually, but we're going to put a new back glass in it. Of course, nice displays, rebuild the boards, get the cabinet looking better, fix up this beat up door, and have a decent little pinball machine. And then you might think, why are you going through all this trouble? It's because this is the last one of these we have left. We've probably done, I don't know, maybe 10 Lost Worlds. It's a fun little game. But this one is the one that's like, it's been sitting in the back, it's been sitting in the back, it's been sitting in the back because it's in such rough shape. But today's its day. So it's almost like a little challenge to see if we can eke any money out of this thing. What do you think? If we get it nice and presentable where it plays well, we can sell it to somebody, save the game, keep it out of the landfill, make a little bit of money, not a ton, and make somebody happy with one of these cool games that's been sitting around for forever. Why should this thing die, right? Why should it die when we can just paint it up a little bit and make it look a little better? So that's what we're going to try to do. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to get out all my paint, and we're going to try to do this red first. You know what? I'm wrong. That's the first color we're going to do. But the very first thing we're going to do is I'm going to take a black paint pen and ink back in some of the missing black lines. And the reason that we do that first is because it kind of makes it like a color by numbers book. Once you get the lines back where they go, you can kind of tell what's what. So, you know, like up here, you know, the yellow's missing around that kick-out hole. Look how horrible that is. Good God almighty. You know, so I'm gonna ink the lines back in, draw the end of these feathers back in so that we can see where the red's supposed to stop. And then once we get that nice and inked in, draw those parts of the wings back in. We'll know what needs to be yellow and what needs to be plum and what needs to be red and all that. So, but I'll get the paint out and we'll see. Alright, so I inked in the black that I could tell was missing to make it kind of a little more complete, how it's supposed to be. And then I took a black paint marker. So these are acrylic paint markers. It's just like acrylic paint that you can do by hand, except it's a marker so you can make a line. And I redid all of the circles too. I'm not great at that, but they're done, right? So originally the circles are, originally they're a little thinner. So that, like my marker I use is a little bit too thick, and I need to try to find one that's a little thinner. But yeah, looks good. It'll look good. It'll all come out in the wash, people. With the clear coat on it, it'll look good. So next we're going to do the red. So I'm going to get some red. We're going to mix it up, color match it, and paint that middle part back in. But you can see what just inking in the lines gets you a hell of a long way there, you know? It makes it come back together where you can kind of tell what's going on. There wasn't much to do up here. Most of this is just this one part that needs to be repainted, and a little purple. Okay, so we're getting there. Okay, folks, so I found a red, which is called primary red, and I took a paintbrush and I touched up around this a little bit, right? And it matches pretty good, and it's a little bit darker, which is how you want it. If it's a little bit lighter, it stands out. But if you get the paint to be just a little bit darker, it kind of makes it look like wear, and so it blends right in, which is why you didn't notice that I'd already repainted that whole part. So it's sloppy, obviously, but so I'm going to repaint that whole red part. And even though I did the black already, you know, you have to go back and touch it up afterwards. But I always do that just so that I kind of have a guideline of where the colors need to go. And I touched up here already. So the red, I'm very fortunate that right out of the bottle, that's a pretty close match. So we'll run with that. I'll set up the tripod so you can see me painting some. Okay, so I have finished the red, and I think that made all the difference, right? Now it's missing it says 1,000 underneath each thing, and it was worn off of every one of them except for the bottom 3. So what I did was I got rid of it from these 2 and just left it on that one. People have said in the past you could make a little water slide decal probably, and I think you could do that, and that would be a great idea. But on this one, it's just going to say it on the bottom, and people will get the idea anyway. Because what does 2x mean? What does 2x mean, people? Who the hell knows unless you play the pinball and you read the instructions, right? So what does 7 mean? Right? So I think it'll be just fine like that. And the red looks a lot better. It's very nice. So the next thing I want to try to do is I'm going to try to get a line around those kick-out holes again, because they originally had a little circle around them, but it's so worn and beat up, especially this one. Good Lord. Good Lord. Now, if you had plenty of time, which we don't, and plenty of talent, which we don't, you actually need to put some like wood filler in part of that in the back to get it the way it's supposed to be again. But we're not going to do that, people. Nah, we're going to try to get a nice circle on there. And if I can get a circle back on that sucker, we're going to try to get some kind of yellow ring around it, and then we're going to run with it. But yeah, so that's next. So I'm going to try to get those looking a little better, and then I'm going to try to get some of the purple around them to define where the art begins and ends. So the purple is going to be very weird because, as you can see, it's multiple colors because it's all faded and everything. But we'll see what we can do. All right, so what I did was there was a little bit of the circle still left on this side. So I got a roll of electrical tape, and I pulled off electrical tape layer after layer until it was just the right size to fit the arc of what was still there. And then I traced it. And then I went back in, and that's the width of the yellow, so I just kind of freehanded in the inside circle. And then I took the same thing over to this side, and I laid it down on just a little piece of rim that was left, and then traced it, and then freehand in the little inside one. And so I have 2 circles. They're not perfect, but people, it'll be okay. So I'm going to do the purple now. What I'm going to do is, since we've got so many different colors, I'm going to mix it. I'm just going to kind of do a free-for-all on it. I'm going to mix it darker to match here. And then once I get it matching there, I'm going to start lightening it up and maybe match it there. And then once I get it a little lighter, blah, 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 blah. So you kind of do, like whenever I did the red up here too. So you try to do all the places that you've got a color missing. It's working for me, people. So I'm gonna mix some kind of plum. I think I've called it 5 different colors so far in this video. I'm going to mix some kind of plum, and then see what all I can get it to match. But I've got major areas. I got this, I got that. I've got a little bit of touch up here. I've got this here, which is pretty severe. I've got this here, that there, around this lady up here, and that's it. It's not too bad. Not too bad. Let's get at it. Let's see what kind of purples I've got. Okay, folks, so I mixed up I got all kinds of stuff. Let me show you what I put in it. First of all, it looks a little different here in person, but the LEDs are throwing us off. But this is cranberry wine. Right? And then it was a little more purple than that. So I threw a little purple in it, the darkest purple I had, because it's all kind of dark. And so that gave me this, which is a little dark. I mentioned it earlier. If you can get it a perfect match, get it a perfect match. But if you're going to be lighter or darker, you want it to be a little bit darker, because your eye doesn't catch it as much if it's too dark. If it's too light, it jumps right out at you. So Got rid of most of that, and kind of feathered it in a little bit. We're fortunate because it's so mottled looking that it doesn't even have to be one color. Like, so up here, all of that. I don't have a spot left that I can really show you, but you can actually just kind of rub the paint in a little bit. Just paint it. It's too dark. Take some of it off with your hand. That's what's so cool about using the acrylics. They're water-based, so you can just wipe them all the way back off if you want with water. But you can just paint a spot and then rub it a little bit, and it lightens it up. And if it's not dark enough, put it back on a little bit more and go at it. So I think that was going to be the hardest part, but it came out decent. Obviously, this Playfield is majorly flawed, but once it has the plastics and everything on it, it's going to look pretty good. We've got the yellow left, and there's some brown highlights in the yellow that we have to do. So let's count. So we got to do black again, no matter what, towards the end, right? So we got to do black, which isn't a big deal. We have to do this filthy yellow. I have this problem on every machine. They always put yellow all over them, and the yellow is always this. It always ends up being really dirty. Look at that. So you can't put yellow on. You have to put like a dirty yellow on to make it even look similar. You see how it looks down close, but up high, it looks pretty good, really. All right. Okay, so I got to do black. I have to do yellow, and I have to do brown, which won't be any big deal. Anytime you have just a little, like this is just, they're basically using it as like a highlight or a little shadow on it. Whenever it's just a little line here and there, you don't even have to be in the same ballpark. I have to do green. That won't be any big deal. And whenever we get it, we'll put a little green up here on the dragon to get him looking a little better. You can see I'm still working on the purple here. This came out pretty good. And that's about all I'm going to need. So I need yellow, and I need brown, I need green, and I need black. But the black we have in a pen, so no big deal. So we're getting there, people. The brown is also down here in this. We're getting there. So I guess next we will do, I don't know. Maybe we'll just jump on the yellow. Next we'll do yellow. What do you think? We're getting there. Isn't that just the most beautiful mix of yellow paint you've ever seen? Look at that. Look how gorgeous. All right, so it was cadmium yellow with a little bit of saffron yellow. And then whenever you run into this problem where it's too bright. It's hard to understand this, but see the paint here and then compare it to the paint in the tub there. It's not that it's too light, it's that it's too bright, it's too intense. So you want to make it look more dingy because the paint on the Playfield is dingy because it has wear all over it, right? So the way you make it more dingy isn't you put black in it, it's you put the opposite color in it. So the opposite of yellow on a color wheel is purple. If you put just a couple drops of purple in it, you end up with a less vibrant yellow. So, what do you think? You can kind of see it here because I haven't done the brown yet. So you can kind of check it out. And the worst spot is right here, obviously. But some of that's going to get covered by the brown whenever we do it. And I got my 2 yellow rings in. They're not perfect, folks, but remember those are covered by plastics too, so you don't see them as much. So, I think we're getting there. That's what I think. So, next up is that brown. We have to get a brown. Now, usually brown, your eye can tell differences in colors. Some colors much more prevalent than it can against other colors. So like reds, if a red is off, you can tell it really easily. Yellow, if the yellow's off, you can tell it really easy. But something like brown, if it's even close, you won't see it. Also purple. Now ironically, this purple, was kind of a thing because it had faded to almost like a plum color or whatever. But like a true purple, there's only a few that your eye can discern the difference in. So usually on a Playfield, if you're touching up purple, it's pretty easy to do. If you're touching up brown, it's pretty easy to do. So we'll have something right out of the can that looks almost identical to that, and we'll just pop it in. And that will leave us with the only thing left is a little bit of green, which won't be that big of a deal. So let me grab some brown paint, and we'll add in a little bit of the shadows that are missing from the wings, which will hide that wear just a little bit more. So the brown in, minor little brown areas. Nothing major, nothing major. I need to ink in a little bit of the black. There's some little teeth in there that need to come back in. There was a little teeny bit of brown on his wing. It's getting there. Alright, so the only thing left is the green. That's all I'm going to do. I'm going to do a little bit of green, and then I'm going to ink the 1000 and the special, the missing digits back in so that it's readable. And then we're going to call this one done, people. You know, a masterpiece is never finished, only abandoned. All right, folks. It's a little bit darker than it looks in person. Let me see if I can brighten it up and make it look like it looks here to my naked eye. A little more. All right, that's about how it looks here in person. The green, that's a little harder because it's right out in the middle of the other part, so you can see it. So I'm a little bit slightly too blue, you know, but I mixed it and mixed it and mixed it. That's the best I could get. Looks even worse over there because it's a bigger spot. And then I inked the number back on it, but I've never been good at doing that. I have sloppy handwriting. What can I say? But all in all, most people are not going to notice that. We rubbed a little green in on the dragon there, so you can no longer see that line that had split in the wood. We already touched up the lady a little bit. Very simple, nothing major. So, we are ready to clear coat it. What do you think about that? Now, everybody always wants to know about the clear coat. I don't like telling people how we clear coat it because then people give us 1,000 reasons why that's not a good way to do it. So, if you want to clear coat it, research it online. Lots of opinions about it. But what we do is we just use clear coat in a spray paint can. So we just use regular old clear coat in a spray paint can, spray it on all the areas that we've painted, get it looking pretty good, and then wax everything. And it comes out really nice. So, you know, our whole thing is, I'm not an artist, right? So we're not trying to get this perfect. We can't get it perfect. I'm not good enough to get it perfect. But that's fine because I don't want to get it perfect. This thing's nowhere near perfect. It's tore all to hell, you know? We just want to get it reliable where it looks decent and people will be happy with it in their room. I'd put this in my game room, no problem. Looks fantastic. I don't want to say fantastic. Looks good. So, we're going to spray some clear coat on it, literally out of a paint can, a spray paint can. And then we'll repopulate it and let's see what it comes out looking like once we get all the plastics back on it, all the light bulbs working. You know, the plastics hide a lot of the stuff and direct your eye this way and that way, and it makes you where maybe you don't even notice that wear. What do you think? So we'll piece it all back together, and let's see what it looks like. Maybe if I do this kind of shot to give you all the magic. Y'all ready for the smoke? All right, so what do you think? Looks pretty good. What do you think, Joe?
Looks great.
Joey says it looks great. So that's all that matters, right? So we got new apron cards on it. Got all our paint in. Got all our plastics on it. All of our posts on it. Had to put all new pop bumpers. They were destroyed. Oh, we forgot to put the ball in over there. There's a captive ball that sits over there. Got our spinner back on it, and it spins. Came out pretty good. Not bad. So, you know, I think a lot of people wouldn't even know that we touched up the paint. I think we saved this one, people. It was pretty much trash, and now it's usable. I think someone will be very happy with this. Once we get a nice back glass in it, it'll be even better. Joey started cleaning up the cabinet a little bit. Got it looking a little better. It's getting there. So, very cool. So leave your comments below. Let us know what you think. Give us a thumbs up for taking the trouble to film it for you. And hopefully, if you decide you've got an old beat-up Playfield you want to work on, this will help you figure that out a little bit too. Just take your time. The good thing about it being acrylics is you can redo it if you screw up. And we wax the heck out of it too, by the way. Lots of wax. Wax, wax, wax. Wax, wax, wax. So leave your comments below. Let us know what you think. And below, we will have a link to Amazon. If you go to our Amazon link, all you have to do is click it. You don't have to sign up for anything or anything. Just click it just before you go buy something on Amazon. And if you do that, whatever you bought on Amazon, it gives us a royalty for. So we would like to thank all of the people that have been doing that. Somebody the other day, people keep buying strange things, you know, and things that I didn't even know were for sale. So the other day, somebody bought a remote-controlled skateboard, like that you ride on, and it has a remote control too, to like you can steer it down the street with a handheld remote control. That's pretty cool. We appreciate that, whoever that was. And we keep having people buying a lot of computer parts and things like that. So thank you to all the people that are doing that. And
Lawnmower Man.
Yeah, Lawnmower Man has been buying a bunch of lawnmower carburetors and air filters and all kinds of cool stuff like that. So we appreciate whoever's out there working on small engines doing that. And that's pretty cool. We get to see a bunch of weird stuff that we didn't even know was for sale, like I said. And we also have a second channel now. Go check out my brother Donnie as he does his thing. He works on small engines and things like that. And we've been filming a lot of that. And a lot of our exploits, me and him, I'm on his channel now. We've been working on a mobile home for a while. So go check it out. And we'll see you over there on that one. And we'll also see you back tomorrow with the next part of this pinball machine. So we're going to start working on the boards tomorrow to get the thing playing, because what good is a nice beautiful playfield like this if you can't play the game? So we'll see you tomorrow with the next installment.